Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happy tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show on the Reef 103.5 FM with exceptionally yours, Nykole Tyson. But we are here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately shift our mindset and allow us to realize that we have the ability to improve and maneuver every and any situation. And as you know, I'm always excited for the conversation. And we have an extremely special guest in studio today. We have none other than Antonio Stevens, Director of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, in studio with us. And we're going to be learning all what's happening with the fire and EMS. And before we get into the details, definitely want to say good morning specifically to everyone in USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you're on the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on reefbroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast. Good morning to you. And those watching live on Facebook, we appreciate you, and we will be going live on Instagram in a second. And so, as I mentioned, we have Antonio Stevens, Director of Fire and Medical Services, in studio with us. And this is his first time on our show, so we are very pleased and honored to have him. He has a very busy schedule, and so we appreciate the coordination from his PR director, Shamika. Right? Thank you for organizing this. And so great. Good morning to you, Dr. Stevens.
Good morning, Nykole. Thank you for inviting me and making it happen.
Yes, you are making it happen. Your division, you have a lot you've been working on and with, and so we want to learn about that. And you know, the big thing everybody's always wondering is medical services and the VI. So you have a huge job in regards to that, overseeing the emergency medical services. So we wanted to get into, the merger with the fire and EMS. How's that worked? Has there been, advantages to it that you've seen and whatnot? So can you explain the reasoning behind the merger first for the EMS and fire department?
Yes, but before I get into that, Ms. Tyson, let me take my hat off to, of course, this is Emergency Medical Service Week.
Mm-hmm.
Started on Sunday with a church service, and this is the time of the year that we thank our medical service providers for the work that they do throughout the community. So I want to take my hat off to them and say shout out to, and this is in the territory, it's something that's recognized nationally, but I want to especially say heartfelt thanks to our employees in the emergency medical service arena. They do a lot trying to keep this community safe and taking care of them, making sure they get the emergency medical service that they need in a timely manner.
Okay, great. Yes, I was going to mention that. And so congratulations and happy EMS week, May 18th to the 24th. And personally, when I used to work for the Department of Health, they work very hard. And they're very passionate for what they do. So definitely we appreciate all that EMS does, the division of EMS within the fire division. And so with that, so we'll get into some of the events that you're working on, but I want to transition into that to get a segue into, first it was EMS was under Department of Health, and then it merged with fire. I mean, when I lived in the States, when I had to be, an ambulance came for me, it was actually the fire department. And so, so I am, I've experienced that. So tell us what the merger is. What was the reason for the merger here in the USVI?
So let me give a little bit of historical data. When former Governor DeYoung was in office, this is something that the thought started. It didn't finish in his administration, but with the Brian Roach administration, they picked it up, and rightfully so. So I want to take my hat off to the Brian Roach administration for seeing the future for the territory in making something like this happen. I think it's a win-win for the territory. And to answer your question more specifically, how does this help the territory? Before the integration, we had responses from one station usually, which was if it was at Charles Howard Memorial Hospital, or the clinic, that's where it was. If it was at Wang Louis, that's where it was. And having to traverse from either one of those locations to Frederickson, for example, would take you sometime 20, 30 minutes just to get to the patient and then to transport back up to the hospital. Again, the intent of emergency medical service is to get a patient, get a victim, the immediate medical care that's needed and get them to that advanced care, which is usually in the hospital. With the integration, what we're able to do is, for example, in the island of St. Croix, we now have 3 responding EMS locations. One in Richmond Station, the one in Frederickson Fire Station, and we have another one at Mid-Island, which is up in the Cottage area. Again, 3 which reduce the response time to the patient. Sometimes we try to say 8 minutes, but it's usually about 10 to 12 minutes from the time we receive the call to get to the patient. There are outliners, I would say sometimes, but for the most time on average, when we talk about KPIs and all those other kind of things, we are usually within that time frame. So again, it's getting to those victims, those patients, in a timely manner. And we're able to do that with integration.
Perfect. And so that's one of the effectiveness or pluses, like you said, advantages of shorter response time.
Yes.
And so depending on where the location of the emergency is, then you'll dispatch from that station.
Right.
Okay, great. And have you seen any other advantages besides the response time? I mean, that's huge. Anything else?
Well, okay, so you mentioned Department of Health. Department of Health has something like 12 different agencies or 12 different arms, so to speak, within Department of Health. And the emergency service may have gotten tangled up in all of that, and the focus may not have been. But with the integration is fire and EMS under one umbrella. We have a better management with it just being those 2 agencies and under one umbrella. And I think it's a win for the territory as far as its finances is concerned, because now everything is a bit more streamlined. So I think it's a win-win for government, central government, and for the community. But more so, it's not about the money part of it. It's more so about providing that care to the community, that medical care to the community. The Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Service is a all-hazard response agency. So whether it's a fire that you're dealing with, a structural fire, wildland fire like we had a couple of months ago out on the east southern side of the island, we respond to those. An entrapment, vehicle entrapment, hazmat incidents, we respond to those. So it only makes sense for us to house the EMS component on that as well. So that usually when we're responding to something as simple as I shouldn't say simple, but something like a structural fire, usually we'll have an ambulance following in or coming on scene just to make sure that not only there are no victims, but also to make sure our responders who, while doing their firefighting operations, do have that immediate medical care if necessary and as needed.
Oh, great. So both aspects you're handling. All right, so great. So that's what we get about background about the merger. So and the EMS within the fire division. That's been about 2 years now?
About 2.5 years.
Okay. Great. And so you've seeing progress with the merger. And so talking about streamlining. So that means the training is streamlined. And so we can talk about it's EMS week, so saying that again. But talking about the training, you have a new class. How is that? So how is the training streamlined for your division now, including both?
Look, I'm so excited. We're about to June 4th. We're graduating the first ever EMT fire students, meaning these students, 12 students started this course back in September. They went through the EMT portion first, and they were all successful. All 12 are now nationally registered emergency medical technicians. After that, they started the fire portion of the course, and they're about to graduate, take their finals, and will be graduating on June 4th. It is exciting because we've never done that before in the past. It is something new. We're about to do it, something similar in the St. Thomas Shindan district. Starting, the class should start June 16th. The difference between the two, between the one in St. Croix and the one in St. Thomas St. John, is that we'll be using our in-house instructors for the one in St. Thomas, which is awesome. And again, that's a first, and we're doing this under this administration, which is an outstanding achievement.
Perfect. And so if you're watching online, and I encourage you to go online, we are showing some images of the training sessions as well as some of the graduations. So that's one thing about connecting with us on social media. On Facebook, you can see the class, some of the students in the class right now. So congratulations to you. And you said it's 12 new individuals
12,
within
yes.
the department.
Good.
And so tell us how the training is, with, now they have to learn both medical and fire safety.
Yes. So like I said, they did have to go through the emergency medical technician portion first, and they had to become nationally certified before moving on. So if they failed, and thankfully none of them failed, they were all, and I need to recognize the instructors, because the instructors did a very good job in making sure the students understood the tasks, and they were successful passing their nationals. But the thing about this is we have to maintain and uphold a standard. So when we talk about dealing with people's lives in a direct manner, we wanted to make sure that these new employees, were trained, highly trained. And so for that to happen, we had to make sure that for you to get to the fire portion, you must have been successful at the
First
emergency medical technician.
Okay.
If you didn't pass that, then you will not move on to the next stage. So again, I'm excited to know that these 12 individuals will be graduating, and I'm super excited about starting the new class in the St. Thomas St. John district. That class, though, will have 11 persons.
So is it 12 just on St. Croix? Or
12 just on St. Croix.
Oh, great. Perfect. So we have 12 new EMTs and firefighters on the island of St. Croix itself.
Right.
Perfect. And then they're nationally certified.
And they're nationally certified EMTs.
So that means they're
ready to go.
Okay.
They're ready to go.
But we want to keep them here.
Keep them. Once they're ready to go, ready to hit the ground, jump in the ambulance, go out there and save lives, and be a part of this community in that capacity.
Perfect. But the nationals, you're saying that they can also do, work in the States.
They can. Okay. They can. But they ain't going to please.
Right, definitely. We want to keep them here. All right. And then we have 11 more that's going to be in St. Thomas.
St. Thomas St. John district.
Perfect. Right. Great news. Congratulations to you and your team for making that happen. And so if you didn't know, we are speaking with Antonio Stevens. He's the Director of Fire and Emergency Medical Services. And we're learning all things about the division. And as if you didn't know, it is EMS week, May 18 to 24. So we're talking about the merger, what was the reasoning for that, and then just like how it has streamlined. Definitely the response time has reduced. 3 new locations on St. Croix, or 3 response locations on St. Croix, reducing the time response times to between, we said about sometimes 8, but average 12, and then the trainings. And so, now we have individuals in the territory that can respond to both fire and emergency medical services. And it's 12 new on St. Croix, so that's a big addition, as well as a accomplishment, huge accomplishment. All right, so congratulations. And let's talk about, before we get into other stuff, so EMS week. What's happening with EMS week? I mean, it already started on, what was that, 18th of Sunday?
On Sunday.
Okay.
So we started out EMS week in the territory with both districts. Started out the week by going to church. But the thing with EMS week is this is when we take the week to recognize the accomplishments and show the appreciation for our emergency medical technicians and basically our providers. And I want everybody to think about when we talk about emergency medical providers. This includes the 911 operators who receive those calls as well, and understanding what they need to do and how they can best assist and direct that call. So it's not just that person that's showing up in the ambulance. It's that from the time that call is received all the way till when you get that patient to the hospital and then into the care of that emergency room technician who is going to continue to care from there. So we want to recognize them. But we have a number of ways that we're trying to show the appreciation. The team has planned an awesome week. They're doing 2 days of sailing, going out and taking a day trip for them, and ice cream socials and a number of things that they're doing, activities that they're doing. I don't want to get into it because I want the public coming out there and getting involved. Trying to show
no, you don't have to say the exact dates, right?
But it's our opportunity as a community as well to just show them the appreciation that we have for them.
Okay, perfect. So I'm seeing and well deserved, right? And then also, what you brought to our attention is that it's a team effort, not just Fire EMS division, but you have the 911, call.
Yes.
Then you have the individuals that are coming, the EMS technicians coming, and then when they get to the hospital. So it starts when the time to call is made.
Right.
Making that happen. So definitely recognizing that. Thanks for noting that. And then so I'm seeing here the kind of schedule. So you have CPR first aid trainings that's been happening?
Right. So we open this up to whoever. I know from time to time people will come and say, okay, I need CPR training. And it's a requirement for us, our employees as well. So we opened it up and just went there and did it this week as well. We did it 2 days, Monday and Tuesday this week, down at UVI Skill Center.
So it happened in that was for St. Croix. Okay. And so then also you had a school presentation. Well, you having a school presentation tomorrow.
Right. This is what we're doing is we go out
today and tomorrow
to the schools, usually the elementary schools, and everybody. What happens is every student. Remember when you were in school, you was always excited to see the fire truck, the firefighters come. We want to get that into the schools because we feel that they have to start somewhere. And
of course.
If people don't know, the kids don't know about EMTs and paramedics at an early age like they do for police officers, firefighters, then that skill set, that
interest
wanes, right? Or not wanes because they don't know about it. So it piques the interest. If they say, the ambulance, okay, what did they do? And so if we could get the information out there, and that's what it is we're trying to do with EMS Week in the schools.
And then that's brilliant because, we learn when you get to a certain age, what's your career, So letting them know what are available, the options available here in the territory is very important, and getting them excited, because that's where your workforce can come from. So that's definitely a good strategy. And so I also see you having an ice cream social. You having morning workouts.
Yes.
Definitely. You make sure to keep that in line with the workouts. And then you talked about the sailing. And then you have a canned food drive.
Right. What we're trying to do is raise, collect cans of food to give back to the community.
And that's where it's a drop off. Is that for the community as a whole?
Right.
So what day? It looks like the 9th. What day was that? That was yesterday?
It's a continuous drop-off.
Okay.
And then at the end of the week, we'll go ahead and distribute.
So they come to the station?
The stations, and a couple of the stations, and at the main office as well. There's a box.
Okay, great. So those listening, you can donate to the canned food drive up until...
Good cans, up until Sunday.
Yes. Make sure the expiration date is... far in advance, far in the future, and you can bring them to sit again
to the fire stations in any district, right? Right. Oh. We're going to give it up.
Okay, so nobody comes to drop off.
No.
Oh, okay, corrected. So you are purchasing and distributing canned food to the community, the staff. All right. So disregard. No need to contribute in this effort. All right. Fire EMS is taking care of all of that. And so this is Fire and Emergency Medical Services Director Antonio Stevens, and we got a little background in regards to what's happening for EMS week, and then also what's just happening as a whole. As we all are always interested in the medical services, especially emergency medical services. Found out the response times has reduced, the location stations for responders has increased, and then we have gained 12 more technicians in the territory. I mean, St. Croix specifically. So that's amazing. So that's even going to add, increase the times, reduce the times, and improve the services. And so we are very happy to hear that. And then St. Thomas is going to have a class of about, St. Thomas St. John District is going to have a class of about 11 students, right? And it's all in-house. All in-house trainings and stuff. So we are definitely moving up and improving. And so we're going to take a break, and we get back. We're going to learn more about some additional resources that the Fire EMS division has attained. And so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. Listen to I'm Making It Happen with exceptional yours, Nykole Tyson. And if you were with us before the break, you'll know that we have Director Antonio Stevens of the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Department for the USVI in studio with us. And we learned about the merger for the EMS with Fire Division. And then, just everything we already mentioned. Response times is lower. The station response locations have increased. We have more technicians, 12 on St. Croix alone. That's amazing. That's really awesome. That also reduces like the workload, right? So it's definitely a win for the department as well as the staff itself. And then we talked about EMS week, of course, recognizing all those that are a part of the, EMS, emergency medical services within the week, not within the week, that handles things daily. We learned 911 is part of that. It starts from 911 from the call that's made up until they get to the hospital. So recognizing all those in between. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And that started on Sunday, the 18th, and it goes until the 24th. But we definitely want to recognize and acknowledge those that's within the EMS division daily, right? Not just wait for that week, because they do a lot and they really do care, right? That is a passion of theirs, those that's in those positions. We have a call, we'll take it. You're on the air. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Nykole. Good morning, Virgin Islands.
Good morning.
And good morning to the director.
Good morning. Good morning.
It was a pleasure seeing you the other day. And you greeted me, and I go, wow, you forgave me a call. But listen, I was vocational chairperson when I was at the middle school. I stepped away like about 10 years now. But when I was there, the chairperson, we invited emergency services to come into the students and display to the students, demonstrate them, talk to them, And I am so proud that one of my students is now a firefighter out at the Henry Rolson International Airport.
Outstanding.
And that's from, I think his interest being, captured when he was at that middle school,
Right.
So I just wanted to share that with you and wish you happy EMS week. You guys are doing a hell of a job. I hope you have the resources you need. I hope you have the resources you need, because you have a 24/7 job.
We have a 24/7 job, yes, and we do need resources. They're coming in, and so that the public knows, the territory sure we will be receiving sometime before the end of the year 7 brand new ambulances, which are much needed. Our fleet, the current fleet, is an aged fleet, which requires us to continuously do upkeep and maintenance on them. But with the 7 that's coming in, I think it will make it better for us as a territory, with a newer, more technologically advanced ambulances and stuff like that. Of course, making sure we have the employees to be able to operate those things is part of my job, and so we're on the right track. We have the resources. We just need to make sure that we do what's right for the community and taking care of this community.
And I don't take no nonsense from nobody. You're charged with the responsibility of keeping the community safe too.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. And your addition to the conversation just confirmed that, it's important to reach your children at a young age. You might influence their career opportunities or interests and retain some to stay here in the VI and be a part of our community in a very important way. And so thanks for the call and tuning in. Okay, and so we're gonna, in addition to that resource, the 7 ambulance, that's amazing. Looking forward to that. You have something that's new. First and only, the marine boat, the first marine fire boat.
We call it Marine 1. It's our first, officially our first marine vessel. It's in the St. Thomas St. John district. This boat is capable of, it has 3 cannons on it, capable of extinguishing fires within the wharf area.
Okay, great. And so tell us a little background about it. Like, what was the inspiration for it? Since it's the first one, what was the purpose?
The purpose, from time to time, we've had some fires, boat fires, especially in the St. Thomas area, where the boats dock up and stuff like that. And so the intent was to reduce that we can't take away the fire, because when the fires do happen, they happen. But being able to get to that boat and extinguish those vessels that are on fire, and not allow when that initial vessel catches on fire, for that fire to spread to the other vessels who are marooned or docked next to that particular vessel that's in trouble. Remember, the St. Thomas St. John districts do have a lot of marine traffic in and out of the port. What I want the community to understand, though, that the vessel is not a vessel for extinguishing fires on a cruise ship. That is not the type of vessel it is. If you're on a cruise ship, they do have the capability of extinguishing their own fires. This is for those smaller vessels that are in and out of our waters here in the territory. The boat is named after Captain Antonio Hendricks. That's who we named the boat after. He was one of the first volunteer boat captains that we had way back, I think it was in the early 90s, to assist in this endeavor. So again, it's a newest vessel. Those of you who have not seen it, look on Facebook. It's on Facebook.
Yes.
It's there so that you can see it.
Yes, you can see it right now during our live video stream for this show. If you're on Facebook, you can see the vessel itself. It has Captain Antonio Hendricks name on the vessel. There was a ceremony for this. When was the ceremony?
I don't remember the exact date.
April 4th. So in April, this went into effect. Right. And so also, in addition to that, it's also like an emergency boat between St. John and St. Thomas?
So it has the capability. So we also have which came out during the integration, what we call, it's a medical vessel, Star of Life. The Star of Life is housed in St. John. And what that does, when there is a medical call where a patient needs to be transported from St. John under emergency conditions to the Leicester Snyder Hospital, that's the vessel that they usually come over on. That has the ability to assist in rescue operations, water rescue operations. So it's a vessel that it's multi-purpose, and we're excited to have it as a part of our fleet, and looking forward. I don't want to say looking forward to using it, right? Because whenever any of our apparatuses have to leave the fire station, that means somebody's in distress. But whatever we can do to assist the community and be a part and be that help to the community, that's what we want to do.
Definitely, and just that you are prepared for anything in that capacity, to be able to effectively respond to it. So great, and congratulations again to your department for making that happen and having that now available to the residents in St. Thomas and St. John. And so initially I was like, so is there going to be one on St. Croix? Is there any?
In the not so near future.
Okay. Not so near.
Not so near.
Is there a thought for it? Was there first a need because of the St. Thomas, St. John?
Because of the volume of vessels
in St. Thomas,
okay. In and around St. Thomas, that highway of vessels. We wanted to make sure that we take care of that busy area first, and then next thing we could focus on the St. Croix district, which has far less vessels in our waters, and those incidents don't happen as often because there's a reduced number of vessels. Not that it hasn't
the need,
right? Not that it has never happened, but the St. Thomas, St. John district is needed.
Okay, understood. We want overnighters anyways on St. Croix.
Right, so. Right. That's a big push.
Yes.
Go to your vessel and go in a hotel.
Yeah, we want you to stay on the island, spend more money. And so, okay, great. And so we have Antonio Stevens, Director of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, in studio with us, learning so much about what's happening in that department. And it seems like a lot of progress is occurring and, expansion. And so definitely appreciate your leadership in making those things possible along with your team, right? Because, of course, it takes a team to make that all come about. And so we're going to take a break. When we get back, you're going to talk about hurricane preparedness. We're coming into that time frame and what we should all be looking what we should be supposed to be doing to get prepared. And so I'm going to be right back after this short break. Welcome back. You're listening to I'm Making It Happen with Nykole Tyson. And we have Director Antonio Stevens in studio with us. And he's the Director of Fire and Emergency Medical Services. And we've learned so much, right? They're doing a lot of great things within the department. As was mentioned from one of the callers, it's a 24/7 job. And he looks so refreshed. I don't know how you make that happen. Tell us your secret.
My secret is to have an awesome staff.
Okay, that works. Great response. So his staff is what helps him get through it. And so, so let's find out about. Well, first, before we get into that, you want to mention the involvement of other individuals.
So one of the things that I didn't say in the beginning, I always need to remember, is to always thank our community and the businesses for the support that they provide us as well. Just for example, EMS Week, a number of businesses reached out and asked us how they can donate and contribute to what's going on, and to show that support for not just the EMTs and the paramedics, but to the fire service as well. One business reached out the other day and said they wanted to donate a pallet full of water to the fire service, and so these are the kind of things that we appreciate, and I want to make sure I recognize that the community does give back to us and say thank you.
That's definitely major. That the businesses are being a part of, these initiatives and giving back. So we do appreciate all those companies that are participating and providing resources to the Fire EMS department, as well as all those that just, do contribute throughout the year to other initiatives. So let's get into it now about hurricane preparedness. First day of what hurricane season is what?
June 1st.
Okay, that's what
fast
I'm gonna.
approaching.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the what are some of the things that we should be looking for, like looking to prepare, and what are some maybe challenges that the department faces during this time?
Let me. I'm going to redirect that question in a way. The territory as a whole have been through hurricanes over the years. The big ones, the little ones. It surprises me sometimes that as hurricanes start to approach, we don't do what we know we should do.
No.
All right, we wait until, or it's knocking on the door to jump out and say, hey, I need to go take care of this, I need to go take care of that. The helter-skelter, running to the station, to the stores, to the gas station. I am going to say, please, Vitima puts this out all the time under the direction of Dara Jashin. Prepare yourselves for the season prior to that day coming when a hurricane is coming, or you hear something that's stirring up. Go ahead and start making sure that you take care of the things that you need to take care of, not just for you as an individual, but for your household. If you have seniors that don't live with you, make sure that they're taken care of. One of the things that we have to do within the Fire and Emergency Medical Service is, and I push this, which is as we approach into the hurricane season, I want that my message to them has always been making sure that they're taken care of. Because if they're not taken care of, they can't take care of the community. And so I always say, take care of this, take care of that at home, making sure that their stuff is good. Because when they come to work for whether it's 24 hours or 48 hours during an event. And I want to make sure that their focus is taking care of the community, not being concerned about what needs to be taken care of at home or their family at home. Yes, you have that concern, but if you know that you've done everything that you need to do to prepare your family and to prepare your loved ones, I think we'll be a more efficient and effective response to our community when we come to work.
Well, definitely making sure your family is taken care of, especially for your staff.
Right.
In advance. So definitely they need to be preparing in advance so that they don't have to worry and they could be fully focused on the task at hand. And then also definitely encouragement to us all. What do we need to be doing? Need to be like maybe trimming the trees. I know I need to do that. And getting the food and water supplies you mentioned, your medication.
Yep.
Also, an important one is important documents. Making sure that you're getting those, taking a picture of them, or securing them.
Securing them. Again, another thing, I did mention the seniors, but those of you who know that you have medication that you have to take, making sure that you get an advanced supply. Ask the doctor, say, hey, look, these are about to run out. They may run out during hurricane season. Can I have an additional 30-day supply or 90-day supply just in case the system goes down and there's no way for you to get that critical medication that you need for the conditions. Again, it's thinking through the process, making sure that you prepare yourselves for something that may or may not happen. It may not happen, but just making sure that if in the event that it does happen, that you're prepared. The same thing goes out to our boaters. Pay attention to marine warnings, pay attention to sea conditions, and if you need to move your vessel out of the territory's waters or take them to a safe haven, then pay attention to that as well. We still have vessels sunken off the coast, after the shoreline there in waterfront in St. Thomas, which is a challenge for the territory. But if those owners can take care of those vessels prior to, we won't have the situation that we currently see out in our area in St. Thomas. And it happened in St. John as well. So I want to make sure that we reach out to the boating community as well, because sometimes I do feel that they're left out and when we talk about hurricane preparedness.
Yeah, very important. In addition, making sure you're cleaning out your yard. Things that might be flying, be flowing, might fly away.
Them galvanizers that you have in your yard, loose debris just hanging. Just now is the time. We have a few more days. Of course, everyone knows that yes, we always say June 1st, the earliest. We may get something. It's usually around August, September time frame. That's when our real hurricane season starts in the territory. But again, now is the time to take those steps, take those measures to make sure your homes are secured, make sure your windows, whatever it is that you know that you haven't taken care of. There's a thing, it's a fete done, right? St. Thomas Carnival done. Every artist just get focused, get locked in, and the things that we need to take care of this summer.
Yeah, definitely. And you make a list of things, right? So that you could, have phases. You don't have to feel stressed and overwhelmed at the last minute. It seems like it's a far time away, but then it comes up so fast. Like we're already coming into June, right? And so just making sure like you're checking your gutters and whatever, I'm not sure how it's downspouts, making sure it's cleared and all those kind of things, for your home. Basic stuff for maintenance and making sure that you are ready. And that's one last thing you have to think about. And so tell me, so that's for the public as a whole. Are there certain things that your division does to get prepared for the season as well?
Not particularly. If there's something that's coming up, like for example, if a storm does hit us, we do implement a change in manning where we bring two shifts together, so you have more manpower in the stations being able to respond. We shift from a 24/72 to a 48, 48 hours on and 48 hours off, and that is to make sure that we have enough manpower to be able to get out to all emergencies within the territory, just in case. So regular maintenance to make sure our vehicles and our vessels in shape and ready to go. There's nothing different than we do normally on a day-to-day basis. We just, because every day we doing the same thing, it becomes redundant. My biggest thing though is to making sure that the employees take care of home, so that when they come to work,
okay.
I will tell you, in the past we've had employees who have lost their rules during hurricanes and showed up to work in wet clothes. That's the dedication and the commitment that these employees have. They understand that their community needs them, and it's something that I do not ever want to see or go away and not recognize the sacrifices that the men and women of the Virgin Islands Emergency Medical Service make for this community.
That is definitely needed, and thank you for mentioning that. I felt that, and that they put the community before their own families, and just like you said, the dedication and commitment to being of service to a community. We thank you, thank the team, and we appreciate all that your team does, because you're saying it's not just one time a year, it's every single day, so you're always prepared. But most importantly, you were mentioning, is that you reiterate to your team to get their households in order so that they can be fully focused, despite what may happen at home. And so I see on here there's a question about how many stations are there in a department, and someone replied 10.
Right. There are 10 fire stations in the department, but we also have a satellite station, which is the one in Cottage that we have an ambulance response on that particular station.
Okay, and this is throughout the territory or just on St. Croix?
Throughout the territory. Okay. Well, which one?
How many stations?
On St. Croix?
In the department, yeah.
In the territory is really 11. One of them is a medical response station.
Okay, perfect. All right, and so that was a question on the line, and we do appreciate that question. Okay, and so this is Antonio Stevens, Director of Fire and Emergency Medical Services Division. Definitely making it happen with his team. And as we close, the time has gone by so quickly. Let's talk about, are there any openings? Is there any opportunities for individuals, if they're interested, to be a part of the team?
there is a big need for paramedics within the territory. I know that I heard the governor just added just this week we need people to return home. I'm going to echo that. We need paramedics specifically to return home. If you're out there and you love what it is that you do, bring it back to this community. The community needs you. It's yes, we have EMTs, emergency medical technicians. We have some advanced medical technicians, but the dire need within our community is paramedics. For those of you that don't know, paramedics are those those are the ones that can give you medication while you're in the field. While when they show up, they can administer you medication prior to you getting to the hospital. It is a need within the community, within the fire service, and we've been advocating for paramedics. Whether you, I would like to see homegrown paramedics. I would like for those who are away to come back and contribute. But I won't limit it to just that. I will also say if you're out there in the States, you're not from here, but would like to come to the beautiful territory, come now. There's a commitment that you will have to make to the territory, but come in and try to be a part of this awesome community that we have here.
Okay, perfect. So that's ongoing need for paramedics. What about the fire division? Any?
We're doing good.
Okay.
We're doing good. We do have a shortage there, but with the 12 that's about to graduate, and the 11 that we start in the St. John district, that kind of helps us level off some of the shortages, and hopefully next year we can have 2 more classes going forward. And this is kind of attributed to because as people retire, you have to fill those.
Mm-hmm.
We thank everybody for their service, but we do understand that once people have reached the time when they figure it's time to go, we thank them, but we have to keep those roles filled as those firefighters.
Have a succession plan,
Right.
and it's best when they're there so they could help mold the next crew coming through.
Right.
And so, as you close, one of the questions I wanted to ask is what is your long-term vision for the Fire and Emergency Services Department? And are there any upcoming projects or goals you're excited about?
My long-term vision for the department is to see us a fully mission-capable agency. I talk about the Army switch knife being able to respond to every and all emergencies, right? But like I just mentioned, we have shortages. We have shortages for paramedics. My vision is to be able to have that gap fixed where we here, just for example, here in St. Croix, being able to have at least 8 paramedics in the St. Croix district, and another 6 to 8 in the St. Thomas St. John district. That's one of my biggest concerns. One of my biggest goals, one of my biggest gaps is to try to figure out how do we get them in. We've done interviews. We haven't had much success, but we will continue to advocate and advertise to get paramedics here. The vision for me is to make this agency the best agency in the Caribbean. I just came back from the Caribbean Association Fire Chiefs Conference, and I think we're on the right track when you sit at a conference and listen to other fire chiefs, other administrators within the Caribbean talk about their situations and what they have to deal with and responses and stuff like that. And I really think that we're on the right track as far as an emergency service is concerned. I just want to make sure that we continue that trend and continue that trend up. Taking care of our employees is an important thing to me as well. Making sure that they're paid on time, making sure that any issues that they may have, that I'm aware of it and that we can address it immediately. stepping in to the department as far as uh, what's it called? The mental status of our employees.
Morale?
No, not the morale.
Okay.
Okay, PTSD.
Oh, PTSD.
Right. For which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Where we, this job is not an easy job, right? And these guys and girls respond to a number of issues within the territory. But it's shootings, or it's the loss of a young child, and it affects everyone differently. And so, in the past, it's always been where like shut your mouth, suck it in, be a man about it or be a woman about it, and just move on as part of the job. But that can have a psychological effect on you down the road. So I want to always push and say, look, we're not doing that in the fire service. We want you to, if you have an issue, if something is bothering you, let's talk about it. Let's get you the help that you need.
Right.
So it's let's not. We push physical health, but we need to look at the mental health of our employees as well.
That's major. I just spoke about that last week. Mental health is very important,
yes.
And especially talking about the traumatic situations that your staff responds to. I know I'm not involved in things, but it affects me just reading it.
Just reading it. So, sometimes seeing some of the videos.
Yeah, and so just being there to respond, first responders there can't even imagine, having to deal with that. And so definitely I'm happy that you are making it a priority for the mental health.
Yes.
So this is Antonio Stevens, Director of the Fire and Emergency Medical Services. We've learned so much. I'm very much inspired by all that you're accomplishing in the division with your team, of course. And, all the new technicians and fire and EMS technicians that we have coming in within the territory. St. Croix and in St. Thomas St. John, the new fireboat, how the response times are reduced, increase of response locations, and the list goes on. So we appreciate you and all you're doing. And is there anything else you want to mention before we close?
I just want to say I thank you, Nykole Tyson, for bringing me on, making it happen, and thank you to your sponsors. And last but not least, the men and women of the Virgin Islands Fire and Emergency Medical Service. Thank you for all that you do for this community.
And thank you so much for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to update us on all that is happening within the Division of Fire and EMS. We do appreciate you, and we look forward to all the accomplishments that your team will be accomplishing with all the new resources that you are going to be receiving and putting to use within the community. I also want to thank Shamika Fredrickson for coordinating this, and we do appreciate all of your whole team. So thank you so much. And we thank all those listening live on Facebook and on Instagram and the caller. And we know we have a lot of listeners, so we appreciate that. And I'm sure they're very happy to hear the updates on what's happening within the Fire and EMS division. And so we'll be back again on next week, Wednesday. You listen to I'm Making It Happen with Exceptionally Yours, Nykole Tyson. We'll be back on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Before we close, I definitely want to remind you of Carlos Furniture. They give back to the community a lot as well, so definitely, support them. They're located in Tutu Park Mall, St. Thomas, and Peters Rest, St. Croix, and they're open 7 days a week. That's Carlos Furniture. They have all of your bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, and decorative items, you name it. They have a lot of new things in store, and they will meet or beat any price. Also, Quality Auto Parts located in Sunny Isles on St. Croix. They're also open 7 days a week, and it's all in their name. They have your Quality Auto Parts, so make sure you give them a call. Number 340-778-5462. And again, I want to express appreciation to Director Stevens taking out of his very busy schedule, and so glad to be able to reconnect with him today. Again, as I mentioned, have an amazing rest of the day and week. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. As always, if you don't see something happening, create it, be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines, and remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.